Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Welcome to Bay Area Unitarian Universalist Church. I am Reverend Katie McQuage-Loukas, and my pronouns are she and hers. An early happy Cinco de Mayo, an belated happy May Day, happy International Workers' Day to all of you who are workers. Whoever you are, whomever you love, however you have arrived here today in body, in mind, or spirit, whether you've come to us in person or if you're watching us online, wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. If this is your first time or your 500th time, you are welcome here this morning. We are glad that you are here, and we are glad that we are here together. My opening words are from Reverend Michelle Collins. Come, let us gather in this sacred space where imagination is a soil rich with possibility. Let us plant seeds of wonder, water them with curiosity, and tend them with community. May our minds open, our hearts awaken, and together may we nurture visions that grow beyond today. Come, and let us worship and imagine anew.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Cheryl Henry, your worship associate for this morning. Cliff Grimm will light our chalice this morning. The flaming chalice is the symbol of Unitarian Universalism. It is an everlasting flame for this, our beloved community, and it offers warmth to those who are cold. It provides light for those who would see. It purifies and transforms this sanctuary into sacred space and this congregation into sacred community. May its flame burn bright within us, true, high, and strong. Thank you, Cliff. Will you stand now as you're willing and able, and let's join in our first song, number 126, Come Thou Font. We gather this morning in this sacred place, kindling a fire that burns here in our chalice and in our hearts. We gather to engage in a different kind of worship, one that does not include traditional sermons, but is holy nonetheless. We gather to honor our covenant and engage in congregational life, doing the necessary work to ensure that our community thrives. We gather together as a people of faith, guided by love, a love that binds us in covenant. Please join me as we confirm our covenant. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest of truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve humanity in fellowship. Thus do we covenant with one another.
Our responsive reading is number 440. And since I did not put it in the order of service, oops, I'm going to give us all a minute because I know some of y'all get ready early, so I know you're not ready yet. All right, it is number 440 from The Fragmented World by Philip Hewitt, who I think is a British Unitarian minister, if I recall correctly. Please join in with me on the italicized text. From the fragmented world of our everyday lives, we gather together in search of wholeness. By many cares and preoccupations, by diverse and selfish aims, are we separated from one another and divided within ourselves. Yet we know no branch is utterly severed from the tree of life that sustains us all. We cherish our oneness with those around us and the countless generations that have gone before us. We would hold fast to all of good we inherit, even as we would leave behind us the outworn and the false. We would escape from bondage to the ideas of our own day and from the delusions of our own fancy. Let us labor in hope for the dawning of a new day without hatred, violence, and injustice. Let us nurture the growth in our own lives of the love that has shone in the lives of the greatest of men and women, the rays of whose lamps still illumine our way. In this spirit we gather, in this spirit we pray.
Hallelujah. Good morning. My name is Gloria Miller, and I am the Director of Religious Education here at Bay Area Unitarian Universalist Church, and my pronouns are she, her. Our story for all ages today is entitled Rocks of Oxen by Alice McLaren, illustrations by Barbara Cooney. Marion called it Rocks of Oxen. She always knew the name of everything. There across the road, it looked like any rocky hill. Nothing but sand and rocks, some old wooden boxes, cactus and greasewood and thorny ocotillo. But it was a special place. The street between Rocks of Oxen and the houses curved like a river, so Marion named it the River Road. After that, you had to ford a river to reach Rocks of Oxen. And of course, all of Marion's sisters came. Anna Mae and Frances and little Jean, Charles from next door, even though he was 12. Oh, and Eleanor actually, and Jamie with his brother Paul. Later on there were others, but these were the first. Well, not really the first. Rocks of Oxen had always been there and must have belonged to others long before. When Marion dug up a tin filled with round black pebbles, everyone knew what it was: buried treasure. Those pebbles became the money of Rocks of Oxen. You could still find others like them if you looked hard enough. So some days became treasure hunting days, with everybody trying to find that special kind of money. And then on other days, you might just find one without even looking. A town of Rocks of Oxen began to grow, lined in stone, Main Street first, edged with the whitest stones, and then the houses, and Charles made his out of the biggest stone. After all, he was the oldest. And at first the houses were very plain, but soon they all began to add more rooms. And the old wooden boxes became shelves or tables or anything you wanted. You could find pieces of pottery for dishes. And then later on there was a town hall. And Marion was mayor, of course. That was just the way she was. Nobody minded. And after a while they added more streets. Frances moved to one of them and built herself a new house lined with amber, amethyst, and sea green, a house of jewels. And because everybody now had plenty of money, there were plenty of shops. Jean helped Anna Mae in the bakery, pies and cakes and bread baked warm in the sun. And there were 2 ice cream parlors. Was Paul's ice cream the best or Eleanor's? Everybody kept trying them both. In Rocks of Oxen, you can eat all the ice cream you want. And everybody had a car. All you needed was something round for a steering wheel. And of course, if you broke the speed limit, you had to go to jail. The jail had cactus on the floor to make it uncomfortable. And Jamie was the policeman. Now, Anna Mae, quiet little Anna Mae, was always speeding. You would think she liked to go to jail. But if you had a horse, you could go as fast as you wanted. There were no speed limits for horses, and you didn't have to stay on the roads. So all you needed for a horse was a stick and some kind of bridle, and you can gallop anywhere. And then sometimes there were wars. Once there was the Great War between the boys and the girls. Charles and Marion were the generals, and the girls had Fort Irene, and they were all Girl Scouts. And the boys made a fort at the end of Rocks of Oxen, and they were all bandits. And oh, the raids were fierce, loud, with whooping and the stamping of horses, and the whirling swords of ocotillo had sharp thorns. But when you reached your fort, you were safe. Rocks of Oxen also had a cemetery, in case anyone died, but the only grave in it was for a dead lizard. And each year when the cactus bloomed, they decorated the grave with flowers. Sometimes in the winter, when everybody was at school and the weather was bad, no one went to Rocks of Oxen at all. Not for weeks and weeks. But it didn't matter. Roxaboxen was always waiting. It was always there. And the spring came, and the ecoteal blossomed, and everybody sucked the honey from its flowers, and everybody built new rooms, and everybody decided to have jeweled windows. And that summer, there were 3 new houses on the east slope, and 2 new shops on Main Street. And so it went. The seasons changed, and the years went by, and Roxaboxen was always there. And the years went by, and the seasons changed, and until at last the friends had all grown tall, and one by one they moved away to other houses and towns. So you might think that was the end of Roxaboxen, but oh no, because none of them ever forgot Roxaboxen. Not one of them ever forgot. And years later, Marion's children listened to stories of that place and fell asleep, dreaming dreams of Roxaboxen. And gray-haired Charles picked up a black pebble on the beach, and he stood holding it, thinking of Roxaboxen. And more than 50 years later, Frances went back, and Roxaboxen was still there. She could see the white stones bordering Main Street, and there, where she had built her house, the desert glass still glowed, amethyst, amber, and sea green. The end. Our keeper of the flame today is Liam Ramirez.
We pass this flame of religious freedom from generation to generation.
Each week, we gather and we light candles for ourselves, for those we love in the world. We begin today with our red candle of community that reminds us we are part of a greater whole. All of us gathered here in this place, those who are not with us this morning, the community beyond our walls, and the larger systems of which we are a part. And because I forgot that I needed to replace the white candle, we will again light it in our mind's eye. Our white candle reminds us that the world beyond our walls is a shattered one and a dangerous one, with open conflicts around the world, particularly right now, most sharply in Ukraine, in Gaza, Sudan, Myanmar, but so many other places as well. So many people around the world are longing for a chance to thrive and to determine their own destinies. We recommit ourselves each week to peace and to justice and to imagining another world where all might flourish. Whatever it is you have brought with you today is no less important and no less sacred. Whether it is a joy or a sorrow, a hope or a fear, or simply a milestone in your life, bring it forward and light a candle so that we might celebrate it and witness it and honor it with you. If you would like a candle brought to you, please raise your hand. Come forward as you are moved. This morning, I have a prayer and a meditation from Reverend Scott Cooper, whom some of you might know from First in Midtown. Please join with me. We bow our heads in order to imagine not one path, but many. We imagine a path forward for those who cannot imagine a path forward because of poor health, financial hardship, family crises, and other roadblocks we cannot begin to understand or imagine. We struggle to imagine a path forward for those forced to leave a homeland against their will, for those unable to leave a war-torn homeland despite their lives being in danger. We imagine a path forward for those who leave their homes to make a better life for their families elsewhere. May we be a welcoming presence along that path toward hope. We come together to imagine a path forward for those of us despairing because we do not seem to know our country nor our neighbors, despite the fact that we have not moved at all. May we be the good we are hoping to find as we travel side by side down the path toward hope. We imagine a path forward for those who feel lonely. May we take one another's hands as we walk that path toward community. Truly, we know as we imagine these ways forward and take one another's hands, the paths will lead to hope. The roads will lead to beloved community, and the arc will bend toward justice because we have dared to travel with love in our hearts. Let us now pause for a moment of silence. May it be so, and amen. Our prayer and song is number 123, Spirit of Life. Please remain seated.
The reading this morning is by Richard Rohr, entitled, Imagination Means You Never Stop Growing. Each of us has our own unique imaginarium, an unconscious worldview constructed by our individual and group's experiences, symbols, archetypes, and memories. For example, Jews, Muslims, Hindus, Catholics, and Protestants live in quite different imaginaria. God comes to us in images that we can trust and believe, that have the inherent power to open our hearts. Spirituality tries to move beyond words to evoke our imaginaria at the unconscious level, where real change must first happen. If your inner imaginarium is rich, intelligent, and not overly defended, you will never stop growing spiritually. My advice, read more poetry and literature, watch movies, listen to music, visit museums. The artist is a prophet, someone who helps us be self-critical and creative so we don't stay stuck in the status quo. The prophet models and embodies a new way of thinking and being that allows us to imagine a larger, more inclusive way to live. You cannot even imagine something or do something until you first have an image of it inside you, which is surely why Einstein said, "I am enough of an artist to draw freely upon my imagination. Imagination is more important than knowledge. It encircles the world.
As we move through our lives and our worlds, we structure it in our own minds through narrative. Most of us have inner voices narrating our lives as we go. We come home at the end of the day and we tell stories about our days. And narrative is this playground where we make meaning out of our lives. What might have been a series of disconnected events become plot points in our story. And we choose how we tell those events, how we describe ourselves and the other people in those events. And then we start describing relationships and goals and dreams in the reality of our experiences. Again, not just a disconnected sequence, but a narrative and a story. We human beings are interpreters. Interpreting is what we do. We ask why. Why did this happen? What does it mean that this thing happened? And then we try to use that information to move into the future. It's a way of thinking that's built into us. And we shape our stories to tell ourselves about our world, and we use them to tell other people who we are. We do this without thinking about it most of the time. There are only a handful of places where we do this work on purpose and consciously. If you've ever done long-term therapy, there's probably been a lot of reframing of stories, revising assumptions and reactions to find new meaning in your own personal stories. But most of the time we're doing this unconsciously. It's just running in the back of our heads all the time as we go about our lives. When we're engaging with others, it's automatic. Someone asks a question, we answer with a story. Using a story instead of a dry answer allows us to convey more than just the information. It lets us show what's important to us, what we value, what culture we're from. There are a few other parts of human life where we treat this with a little bit more consciousness, therapy, but also journaling practices. We do it academically in philosophy, but religion and politics are probably the two places we do the most work in this arena, the places where our stories bump into the stories of others and entwine themselves. These are arenas where we might actually work on crafting story. These are parts of our lives where we might make choices about mapping our stories alongside the stories of others. Often, when we ask someone about their political passions, what they care about, we receive a story about healthcare, about education, about an experience in the world. The other thing we humans do on purpose with stories is make them up from scratch, imagining people, imagining events, and using it as the same type of a vehicle to talk about something important to us, or interesting to us, or entertaining to us. Even the stories that are purely entertainment are happening in the same playground as all of our other stories. They're all in our minds. And all of our stories have the power to touch our hearts by revealing real elements of human experience, regardless of setting. All of our stories have the potential to offer a glimpse of how the world does function or how it could function. And this is the part of the storytelling that really lays foundations of myth in our minds, deep truths about the world. Beyond even moral storytelling, these are deeper than that. Stuff like true love conquers all when we think we're reading just a regular romance novel off the shelf, or justice will prevail when we're watching superhero movies. Myth is a bridging of gaps. The gaps in our understanding of how the world works, but also the gaps between what is and what might be, or reconciling opposing forces or values. In the end, it all comes together in a mythological story. Religious stories do this with purpose. All scriptures are building up these layers of mythos, creating a collective world that's revealed in those scriptures. And there's moral storytelling in there too, telling people how to behave and why to behave. But it's creation narratives, massive conflicts, world-changing events that build a structure, that build the world. We are not the only people in the world that hold multiple mythic narratives at the same time. Certainly other traditions and cultures integrate multiple faiths. I'm thinking of those parts of Asia where Shintoism, Buddhism, and Christianity each meet different needs of life simultaneously. And even singular faith traditions contain multiple myths. Hebrew scripture is the end result of an editing process that combined multiple myths and stories to essentially create a library of many voices. And so the Jewish tradition is capable of holding all of these versions simultaneously. Christianity also has that capacity, though traditionally it hasn't been as willing to hold all of it at the same time. But I do think we Unitarian Universalists hold more myths simultaneously than most people, including the ones we ourselves have created. We as a religious tradition are quite conscious of how stories shape us. We tell the stories of our history to build up our mythic heroes. We draw on poetry and art. We draw especially on science to build the really grand mythos of our own creation narratives. Our creation narratives are grounded in physics more than the supernatural, but they are no less formative and mythological and cosmological. And we make choices in how we tell our stories and the meanings we make from it, individually and as a group. I know I speak occasionally about the power of fiction to shape our personal mythologies, and I love that this is a tradition that makes space for that too. I don't think it's going to be a big shock to most of you to find out that I'm a giant nerd. And when I was really little, one of my earliest words was R2. My mom also tells the story, what sound does the cat make? Meow. What sound does the cow make? Moo. What sound does Darth Vader make? And I do like a little heavy breathing noise. I grew up swimming in the Star Wars original trilogy. For the handful of folks that are younger than I am, that's all there was. The prequels happened when I was an adult. And Star Wars is pretty intentionally based on Campbell's heroic journey. George Lucas was also drawing on other tropes, particularly fantasy tropes, saving the princess, mysterious teachers. And the work is good guys and bad guys, rebels and soldiers, and fighting an evil empire. Star Wars takes all those classically mythic themes and it weaves them throughout its narrative to create familiarity and urgency at the same time. That lets fans kind of look past the flat bits and the plot holes because we can fill that in. We've got all of these tropes to draw on. We can draw on the patterns of mythology, fill in all the gaps, and create the arc. And then once we're drawn in, we wrestle with questions of power and authority, order, violence, and chaos, and all these questions of our political lives. Obviously, I'm thinking about Star Wars because A, I'm a big nerd, and also because it's May the 4th, and I know that if history is any indicator, I will check my email after church and have a nice little May the 4th be with you email from my dad. Hi, Dad. But it doesn't have to be Star Wars. It can be any story or universe that gives us scope for imagination, a place to play, and wonder about how the world works. It's not a coincidence that Star Wars is one of those intellectual properties that has generated slews of fan fiction and interaction, just like Star Trek and any of the other truly wide open spaces of the imagination. Science fiction and fantasy are genres that have long attracted people who consciously are doing that imaginative work, imagining new ways of being and sharing them as novels and films and other forms of art. There are some early forms of utopian fiction. One of my favorites is a little bit lesser known. It's called Herland, and it's a 1915 feminist utopian novel written by Charlotte Perkins Gilman. You probably read The Yellow Wallpaper in your school days. Herland imagines a society with no men whatsoever and what the social order might look like. Somewhat more recent authors include Ursula Le Guin. The Dispossessed imagines capitalist hierarchy and anarcho-syndicalism, showing them in parallel to each other. Feminist thinker Starhawk wrote The Fifth Sacred Thing, which contrasts a theocracy and an anarchist eco-utopia. Those visions remain alive in the work today of Adrienne Marie Brown and authors of Solar Punk, Imagining New Ecological Worlds. Dystopian elements show current dangers in their extreme forms, but utopian literature tries to imagine something better than what we have. Using science fiction and fantasy gives those authors some plausible deniability, but it also allows them to go beyond what is possible, to reach farther and aim higher. Stories allow us to imagine galactic empire defeated by a farm boy, a smuggler, and a princess, or by a handful of gentle hobbits. We see too often in our current politics people who have incorporated terrible lessons from some of these works. There are plenty of people out there who identify more with Empire than with the Jedi. Seriously, it's a real thing in the world. And it is certainly possible, and there are plenty of people who do interpret Lord of the Rings through xenophobia, ethnocentrism, and monarchy, instead of picking up on the pacifism and the ecological restoration. We bring ourselves to all of our stories, and we co-create that meaning. We don't simply absorb what's there already. Adrienne Marie Brown reminds us that science fiction is simply a way to practice the future together. She writes, "I suspect that's what many of you are up to, practicing futures together, practicing justice together, living into new stories. It is our right and responsibility to create a new world. What we pay attention to grows. So I'm thinking about how we grow what we are all imagining and creating into something large enough and solid enough that it becomes a tipping point." Brown also reminds us that imagination is a radical act against dominant narratives. Imagination is one of the spoils of colonization, which in many ways is claiming who gets to imagine the future. Reclaiming the right to dream the future, strengthening the muscle to imagine together as Black people is revolutionary, decolonizing activity. Many of her major influences, Brown's, Octavia Butler is the big one, but there is an entire universe of Black futurism out there. Kaya Shante Wilson, N.K. Jemisin, Nisi Shaw, Janelle Monáe, Marlon James. All the way back to W.E.B. Du Bois, there is a lineage of Black authors imagining new futures in the realms of science fiction and fantasy. Feminist authors too, Le Guin, James Tiptree, Margaret Atwood, Joanna Russ. Many of those authors are also working with queer themes, upending the tropes we think we know and creating new ones. A world that has marginalized an identity doesn't have the scope within its imaginarium to recenter it. So people over decades and centuries have turned to speculative fiction as an arena with that capacity. And of course, once an author has released their work into the world, it's we who do the imagining. It's we who are practicing the future together, and we begin new stories based on the ones we've received. And we have to, because the stories we are offered are never complete. They're not done. Stories that are too tight and tidy don't give us the playground that we're looking for. And they don't give us the richness, complexity, and nuance that makes the work of fiction truly compelling. But more importantly, there is no end point to the possibilities of stretching our imaginations. No utopia could ever be a complete and whole picture, and there's always room to stretch a little bit farther. Right now, at this moment, we are witnessing the consolidation of power. The executive branch defies the judicial branch caves. The legislative branch is ceding tremendous power to the executive. Terrible tools meant for war and egregious even in wartime are being used against civilians to remove them, to deny them basic rights. We are watching empire entrench itself in real time. Our stories, our myths, all of them, remind us that we have power. We don't have the force that I know of. If you do, please tell me. But we definitely have the power to organize, we have the power to organize resistance, and we have the power to create alternative visions of the future and alternative ways of living. We build parallel worlds in real life every day as part of our resistance. We put together fragments of the beloved community we dream about in the hopes that it will eventually come to fruition. We cannot know that it will. The stories of the future have not yet been written, and there are no guarantees that we'll see it. And we don't know exactly what it would look like anyway. But we get these glimpses through myth and story and fable and parable. In these times, seek out the stories that nourish your spirit. And seek out the stories that challenge you too, reading widely beyond your own context and experience. We broaden our imaginative capacity every time we encounter something outside of it, and possibilities we could not dream up on our own have the opportunity to take root in us. Let those stories remind you and me and all of us that there is more than the present struggle. There are worlds beyond the ones we know. May we imagine something beautiful, something incredible, and in the work of our lives, may we bring into being something more joyous than we had previously imagined. Amen, and may it be so. Beloved friend, thank you. Friends, it is we who do the work of building up this particular fragment of beloved community right here. We are not supported by outside organizations and structures, it's on us. So this is the moment in our service where we find gratitude for our own abundance and share it with one another in the form of our offering. Please give as generously as you are able. And for those of you who are visiting for the first or second or third time, please know that your presence is gift enough.
Please join me in blessing our offering. This gift from the abundance of my life blesses me, our ministries, and the world. We have some announcements. All members are invited to attend a town hall meeting immediately following the Sunday service on May 18th at 12:15 p.m. right here in the sanctuary. Members of the Building and Grounds team and the Board of Directors will be present to share information and answer questions about a proposed plan to deed our portion of Beacon Street to Harris County. You can find out more information about the meeting in the May newsletter and the upcoming weekly briefs on Tuesday. So that's May the 18th, right after the service. Join us this Wednesday night for dinner at 5:45 p.m. At 6:00 p.m., we'll be hosting a guest speaker, Yosandi Yossi Buslag. Yossi joined the Peace Corps upon graduating college. After assignments in Europe and Africa, she's currently serving in Panama. Yossi will discuss her work and assignments with the Peace Corps, modeling the dress of indigenous people of Panama, and will have several items of native design to display. While in college, she was a center defender on the women's NCAA soccer team for her alma mater, Centenary College of Louisiana. She was a volunteer soccer coach in Costa Rica, and she plans to pursue a medical career. That's Wednesday night dinner at 5:45, and her guest speaking will be at 6 p.m. Next Sunday, families, parents, and children, bring your appetite and a dish to share for a delightful family potluck lunch. Join us at 12:30 in the youth room for a fun-filled gathering. While the children play and are cared for, parents can engage in meaningful discussions about parenting topics. Don't miss out on this perfect blend of food, fun, and parenting insights. Now, next Sunday, we're throwing a going-away party for Wally and Jennifer Calloway. We're not real happy about that, but the big event will take place after the service in Cockrell Hall, and we hope you'll join us. Wally and Jennifer, as you all know, have been such a big part of our community, and very soon they'll be leaving us for new adventures in Colorado, where they'll be closer to their family. So let's get together to thank them and to share some memories and send them off with lots of love. After the service today, join us in Cockrell Hall for a vibrant celebration of Latin and Native American cultures at our Cinco de Mayo benefit lunch. This festive gathering will include delicious food, lively music, fun games, and joyful fellowship. Everyone is welcome. Even if you didn't RSVP, please come. Proceeds beyond the cost of the lunch will go to support Casa Juan Diego, so come hungry and ready to support a great cause. Then be sure to check your weekly email blast for all of the upcoming events at BAUUC. If you're not on our email list, stay connected by subscribing today. We send out an email every Tuesday packed with news, events, and updates about our community. Use the QR code on the screen or visit our website, bauuc.org, to sign up today. Okay, will you please rise as you're willing or able and join in our closing song, number 121, We'll Build a Land.
Let's
I have a closing blessing for us from John O'Donohue. May your imagination know the grace of perfect danger to reach beyond imitation and the wheel of repetition deep into the call of all the unfinished and unsolved, until the veil of the unknown yields and something original begins to stir toward your senses and grow stronger in your heart. Blessed be, and go in peace.